Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Hello everyone, it's time for another edition of Gaarwarr's Guide, the tutorial show. Today's show is going to be on The Running, Year 6, and the 3 champions that are in it, the 2 returning champions, Shaka and Dungeon Master, and the newest champion, Nixie. We'll cover all of that today over the course of the next 2 hours. The way the tutorial show works is for like the first hour I talk. And then the second hour, I answer questions. But during that first hour and during the entire show, you can always throw questions in chat, as shown down below. Put question colon before them. And the wonderful Gabe, who is producing and moderating the stream, will grab those and put them in a safe little document over here for me to get to. Yeah. So that's what we're doing today. That's what we do on Saturdays. It's Saturday here. It's Saturday everywhere, right? I mean, I guess somebody could be watching this in the future and it wouldn't be Saturday. But you could pretend like it was. I don't know. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, folks. It's going to be one of those days. So, hey, we're going to dive in. So normally, when you're playing Idle Champions and there's no event going on, you've got your campaign banner over here on the left with, it goes from the Grand Tour of the Sword Coast down to Light as Rixis. You got your time gates, and if you've unlocked it, you got your Trials on Mount Tiamat, which apparently I need to do. And you got your patron stuff and favor and whatnot, right? It's the usual thing. But when an event happens, they just slam that event right at the top of the banner because they're trying to tell you, hey, this is important. Do your event. So when you click on that, boom, you get a map like normal, but there's just one adventure node. And there will be a bunch of, there will be a big number here and a bunch of stuff that you can get. You click on it, you get 3 adventures. There's only ever 3 champions available in any event. It's whatever the current year is plus the prior 2 years. Now, at the top of this show, I said, hey, this is The Running, year 6. That means we've done this 6 times. This is the 6th time. That means 6 champions have arrived in this event, but only 3 are still available. So Nixie, Dungeon Master, and Shaka. But prior champions that arrived in this event are still associated with the event, generally speaking, but you cannot unlock them during this event. So make sure I have a list over here. Instead, you have to get them out of time gates if you want. You don't have to do it during the event. You can do time gates anytime you want. They're just related to the running in the sense that all of the stuff that goes on in the running, like the enemies you fight, the boss, and that kind of stuff, that's the things that you're going to run into in their time gates, right? So like year 1, that was Caddy Bree. Year 2, Spurt. Year 3, Kreidel. These champions are now time gate champions. So during this season of the running, we'll have Shaka, Dungeon Master, and Nixie. Next year, we'll see the return of Dungeon Master and Nixie, and a new champion. Shaka, after this event, will be time gate only. So that's kind of how things work. A lot of people in the community refer that as retirement. So Shaka's retiring. I don't like that correlation personally. I think they're now a time gate champion to me. There's event champions and there's time gate champion. To me, they've moved on into the time gate champion list because that's how you get them, right? That's the only way you can get them now. When you open this up, you're going to see the Grandfather Acorn Shaka, the Grandfather Acorn Dungeon Master, Grandfather Acorn Nixie. It won't say free play because you won't have done it yet if you're just starting the event. And this adventure, if you go to do it, complete Area 50, no restrictions, the reward will be that champion. This is how you unlock champions in the game. Events are completely free. You can get, all the champions in the game completely free. This is, either through this or time gates or unlocking them in various evergreen ways. The adventures are pretty straightforward. Again, you just got to get to 50. But generally speaking, what you want to do on these unlock adventures is push as far as you can. Because you need favor. See up here at the top right, there's favor for this. I have a lot. You don't need that much. Okay. The kind of target you're shooting for to make the event easy for you is at least EO8 favor. We deal in scientific notation in this house. Don't make me turn this guide around. EO8, for those of you who don't normally use scientific notation, let me do the quick math. 100 million. 100 million. I think what you want is like 150 million and somewhere in that neighborhood to make sure that you've got enough. I say go, if you can get E10 plus, do it. The reason I say this is because you're going to do variants for these adventures, and the difficulty for the variants is based solely on favor. And in the adventure and in events, it truly is like favor is the magical stick that beats the adventure. So if you can get a lot of favor, you'll have no problem with the variants. And why create headaches for yourself when you don't have to, right? So I like to treat each of these as a deep push, get a bunch of favor. Now, some of these are going to be better for pushing than others, because each champion basically has their own little mini event. So this is the formation layout for Shaka. It is fantastic. It's a 2-tank front line, and there are lots and lots of adjacencies. Now, it's not fantastic for every champion, but it does a real good job for a lot of people for making deep pushes, right? Whereas Dungeon Master has this weird thing going on. It's like just a conga line, which is fitting for his new on vacation skin. The Dungeon Master conga line, not the greatest formation for pushing. So maybe don't do the deep push here. Maybe don't do the deep push here. Whereas Nixie's got this little fireball action going on. Of course she does. 2-tank front line, but there are some adjacencies through here. where you can have up to 3 people adjacent, and that's good. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. But then there's still places people can hang out on by themselves, and that's cool too. That's cool too. I see chat saying it's a roller coaster. I mean, it could be. That's not a roller coaster I'd want to ride. That's a very uncomfortable roller coaster. Going straight down, then straight up, then straight down again. I'm going conga line. I'm going conga line. Okay. So, there are different costs. One of the things that you have to deal with in an event that you don't normally deal with everywhere else is these leaves up here. These are event tokens. And every time you want to do something, it costs you leaves. Costs you leaves. This is how they kind of put kind of an artificial gate on how much you can get during an event. Because the leaves drop over time. They are time-based currency. They drop in-game. You can't speed it up. You can't multiply it. There's no way to affect the amount of leaves that drop at any given time. You just have to be actively in an adventure doing stuff, and leaves will drop. As long as you're killing things, leaves are going to drop for you. So, there are plenty of leaves that drop over the course of the event. Events start on a Wednesday at noon, Pacifically speaking, and end on a Monday, 2 Mondays later, the second Monday after, so 12 days, at noon, Pacifically speaking. Things in this game tend to happen to start and end at noon, Pacifically, because that's where CNE is headquartered, is in the Pacific time zone. So adjust yourselves accordingly. So there are plenty of leaves that are going to drop during this time frame for you to unlock all the champions, do all their variants, and also grab yourself some extra gear. How do you grab your extra gear? Well, you do the free plays. Now that I've completed these, there's a free play version. You can see there's a different chest here with a question mark. That means if you just complete Area 50 in a free play, you don't have to go further. Truly don't have to go further. There's no need to. It does nothing. Absolutely nothing. If all you want is the gear. Kill the boss in Area 50, collect the bag, restart your run, and you will be rewarded with either a silver chest for that champion or a gold chest for that champion. So this is, this is Shaka's, this is Dungeon Master's, this is Nixie's, it's on fire. You'll get one of those for that champion. The odds are that 1 in 3 that you will get a gold chest. So 1 out of every, that's the odds. But RNG is a fickle mistress. So the developers have put in what is referred to as a pity timer, or other people refer to as bad luck protection. If you go 3 runs in a row and you get 3 for the same champion, mind you, it tracks it individually for each champion. If you go 3 runs in a row for Nixie and you get a silver, well, the good news is that 4th run's guaranteed to give you a gold chest. Okay? So at your worst luck, you are going to be getting, if you're doing free plays, every 4th free play for whatever champion you're doing is going to be a gold chest. At your worst luck. It's not bad. It's not bad. So, when you're doing free plays, the cost starts out at 500 leaves, but every time you do a free play for that champion, it goes up by 500 until it caps at 2,500. That is the highest it's going to go, 2,500 leaves. Yeah, that's it. So, those four runs for that champion to get that gold chest cost 10,000 leaves. Coincidentally, but you're getting a gold chest plus maybe 3 silvers at worst. Coincidentally, you can go in the store, and there's a gold Nixie chest that you can buy with leaves. It's 10,000 leaves. Don't do that. Don't do that. It gives you 1 gold chest. And math tells us 1 gold chest plus 3 silver chests is better than 1 gold chest. Because we're getting item levels and other stuff out of those chests. We want the many, not the few. Okay? Plus, potentially, those 4 runs could give you all gold chests. I've had it happen. I got so many gold chests one event. It was just gold chest after gold chest after gold chest. I wasn't seeing silvers. I reported my own account. I was like, my account's broken. Something's wrong. All I'm getting is gold chests. They looked into it. They were like, no, you just got really lucky this time around. Enjoy. And I was like, all right. Went back to getting gold chest after gold chest. Statistically speaking, it's going to happen to everybody eventually. I got mine early, I guess. So do the runs. You can make them short and sweet. If you have, you don't have to, again, you just have to go to 50. If you have a Modron, an automated Modron core, wow. If you have your Modron core and you have automation set up, you can just set it to 50, or I set it to 51 just because. With familiars and rock out your easy chests if you just want to do it all for like one person. That's what I do on my main account. On my new player account, so if you're a new player, what I like to do is I will do I will go to Shaka. I will start doing Shaka free plays until hold on. Chat, you only have to post a question once. The wonderful Gabe is going to grab that question and put it in a document. I answer questions in about 45 minutes when we move to part 2 of the tutorial show. All right. Just a heads up, because I see some spam. Okay, so so on my new player account, what I like to do is I will do runs for Shaka, and I will do a run for Shaka, and if I get a silver, I'll keep doing runs for Shaka until I get a gold, and then I'll move on to the next one. Because basically what I'm focusing on is trying to get as many, equal amounts of gold chests for everybody. So I'll alternate on that account, which requires a little more manual play, but I find it helps get me to full blues quickly, and that is kind of the goal of the event, as we'll talk about in a bit. Let's talk about... I did want to mention one more thing. Let's hide all this information. Leaves. So, like I said, leaves are a limited currency because they only drop over time. However, there is one way in-game that you can get more leaves. There are things that you have probably seen by now in your inventory called bounty contracts. Bounty contracts give time-based rewards. Generally speaking, that's gold. But when an event is live, that's also leaves. So the general strategy in the community is you don't use your bounty contracts until an event is active. Then you open a bunch of bounty contracts because that gets you a lot of leaves. A lot of leaves. And depending on how many chests you've opened, they drop. The big way to get them is gold chests. So if you're buying lots of gold chests and opening lots of gold chests with your gems, which that should be what you're doing, you'll get lots of bounty contracts. And then you just pump those bounty contracts into the event. You'll end up with lots of leaves, and then you can get lots of free plays done. On this account specifically, this time around, on like day 1, I had over 300,000 leaves, which it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, objectively speaking. But subjectively speaking, there are people who had far, far more than that. Yeah. So, bounty contracts are your friend for events. Okay. So, variants. Let's talk about variants. Let's go over each of these. There are always going to be 3 variants for every adventure. These variants have specific restrictions to them that make them harder to do. So you want to do your favor pushing out here in a free play or in the base adventure. And then you don't want to do, my recommendation is don't even attempt these until they show as green. Because again, if it shows as easy, that means that you at least have a decent amount of favor to try to complete this with. You still have to look at the restriction to see if it's going to be problematic. And then you might need more favor, right? So the variants wait until the show's green. That's a good idea. They have different goal areas. So it's area 75 for the first, area 125 for the second, and area 175 for the third. They also have increasing costs, as you can see. The older champions are discounted costs. The newest champion is always full price. So that means it's 5,000 leaves for Nixie's final variant. It's just the way it always is. Back in my day, when before they had before they had 3 champions in every event, it was just these were the costs. It was just these were the costs. So yeah, they discounted some so you could be more efficient with your currency. All right, so let's go over these. The web was on the wall. So for this one, giant spiders appear in each area. Oh. Whenever a champion destroys a giant spider, they become webbed, i.e. stunned, for 3 seconds. Gold find is reduced by 99%. So this one's going to be kind of slow, right? Because every time you kill one of those, they're not going to be it's not the only thing you're going to be killing, but every time you kill one, you're going to be stunned for 3 seconds. So it's going to be potentially a little slower progress than you might see. Not a whole lot. You only have to get to Area 75, so that's not too bad. Again, as long as everything's showing as difficulty easy, not a problem. And gold find reduced by 99% may sound scary. Anything reduced by 99% is going to sound scary at first. Please remember, we are playing a game based off large numbers. That's why I try to encourage people to use scientific notation. It's an option in the menu, or if you're on PC, you can just hit Y on your keyboard. It will switch numbers to scientific notation. 99%, I'm about to make a false statement that is functionally true. Bear with me, math people. 99% is functionally like removing 2 off this number off the E, after the E. So you're functionally losing 2 orders of magnitude. So if you'd like, if this scares you, just, get 2 more orders of magnitude of favor than what is required for the web was on the wall. Which roughly means just make sure that this one's green. And your gold find will be the same because favor is a gold find modifier. Right? So this is your gold find multiplier, which is favor. And that's going to make this super easy. If all of these show as green, you don't even have to worry about that restriction. Okay? And the same thing if it says damage is reduced by 99%. Again, you're only losing 2 orders of magnitude off your damage numbers, and your damage numbers should be something like this or higher. Not that big of a deal. Okay. Shaka's puzzle is the second one in the list. Shaka starts in the formation. It says slot 6. Oh, they need to update these. Slot 6, if I recall, we're starting at the top, at the front of the thing, and the very top of the column, and I think it starts at 0, 1, because they're computer nerds. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's back here. I think. On some of the newer variants, they'll put a big C here. They'll put a big white C where it is, and they just never change this one. Okay, so they'll be in there, but they can be moved around. So this is where they start, but you can move them anywhere you want. Only Shaka and the champions who match the tag for their slot from Shaka's a Celestial Puzzle ability can deal damage. That's a mouthful. He's got an ability that's based off slots we're going to talk about in a minute. And basically you just have to make sure your primary DPS matches one of his tags. That's what's going on here. Shaka's Celestial Puzzle starts out unlocked. Good, because it would kind of need to. And then there's a bunch of explanation about how Shaka works. This just means you're going to have to be a little flexible with who you're potentially using as a DPS. Because they have to match one of the tags in the slots. There tend to be from some pretty general tags that get thrown out, and then some harder ones. Yeah. So you just kind of got to make the best of it, and do what you can. This is one of those I recommend just making sure everything shows as green first, so that even if you have a DPS that maybe isn't your greatest, you can pump a lot of favor into them. That's a lot of gold. Give them a lot of upgrades, and they'll be just fine. Again, you only got to get to 125. Lolth's Blessing. A drow wizard spawns in each area with the Blessing of Lolth. The Blessing of Lolth is that purple health bar, if I recall correctly. which is basically like just you got to knock it off before you can kill them. While the Drow Wizard is alive, all Drow enemies deal 300% additional damage and move 100% faster. So they're just trying to kind of overwhelm your tank line, ultimately. And the best way to kind of ignore that is just having some favor so that you can upgrade your tanks up to the point where they have more health than those people can scrape off with their 300% additional damage. And you move on. So again, as long as this is showing as green, this isn't that bad. If you want to wait, and it shows green around the EO8, like 1.5 EO8. If you want to wait until you have E10 favor, you can, but you should be okay here. Moving on to the Dungeon Master's variants. Revenge of Venger. Revenging the we're revenging. It's the Revenge of Venger. This is a throwback to the cartoon. Dungeon Master himself is a throwback to the 80s cartoon. Only champions that are 40 years or old or younger can be used. Dungeon Master's got this thing about the age of champions. At the start of each boss area, Venger arrives on his nightmares, an additional boss that must be defeated. So you do have a restriction here, and it's an age-based restriction. Now, Dungeon Master themselves can get around that because they can go. They have an ability that we'll talk about where they can go anywhere they want. Because no one tells them what to do. So you might be a little restricted here. Again, if you are, just wait until you have more favor. You're going to hear me say this a lot because in an event, that's the best way to approach things. If it looks a little difficult, looks like you don't have everything you need, wait until you have more favor. Now, one of the nice things about this is what you can do is you can hop into a free play where there are no restrictions, but you can try to build a formation with champions that are only 40 years or younger. You can see what that formation looks like. How many people do you have? How decent does it look? And then you can try to push with it. And if you get past Area 75, then you'll know that you're probably fine. You might want to go a little further because you're going to have an extra boss. But you can shoot if you can get to 100, you can do this no problem. But then while you're in that free play, just swap in a full formation and do a deep push for favor. If it turns out you don't have the power, swap in and do a deep push for favor because the favor's gonna help get you there, right? Trying it in a free play is a nice free way. It's not free, you're paying leaves, but you can always change things up and then go get more favor if you think you need it in a free play. So test it out in a free play first if you're worried. But otherwise, favor is your friend. Ultimate Madness. Dungeon Master starts in the formation with his ultimate unlocked, but he can be moved around, just not removed. All champions' base attacks deal 99% less damage. We talked about this earlier. That's not scary. I promise. All champions' ultimate attacks deal 10,000% more damage. It's almost like they want you to kill things with ultimates here. Ultimate cooldowns take half as long. Okay. But here's the thing, if you're a newer player, that's still going to take a while. And it would make it very slow if all you tried to do is kill with ultimates. So just build a regular formation. Deal with the fact you're doing less damage. It's not that big of a deal. Again, it's only 2 orders of magnitude. Sure, pop off your ultimates every now and then. They'll wreck fools. But here's the thing. This game bases the ultimate attack damage off of your champion base attack damage. So this isn't it may say it's 10,000 more percent, but really you've lost 99%, and it's not that big of a deal. Just get yourself some favor and beat them to death with your regular abilities. You're fine. It's Tiamat, the dragon. Dungeon Master starts in the formation with Words of Encouragement unlocked. This is a shielding ability that they have, temporary HP shields. They can be moved but not removed. Champions only regain 50% of their max hit points when changing areas. Normally you're healed to full. At the start of each area, Tiamat has a 75% chance to show up. She briefly appears and breathes on the champions, and boy does she need a mint. Dealing 90% of the champion's max health and damage if the champion does not have any temporary hit points. This is why Dungeon Master starts with that ability. But only wiping out the temp HP if they do. So the thing here is you just want to make sure you have Dungeon Master in. Dungeon Master has an ability that will pop up a temp HP shield at the start of some areas, but not all. For reasons we'll talk about when we get to looking at the champions. So it basically helps you to not die. Right? A good thing here is you have Calliope, everyone has Calliope. Calliope shields, usually within 2, which is difficult to get everybody here, but Calliope's ultimate shields the whole party. So that can help. If you were around for the last event and got Ontreus, there's a way to get Ontreus to shield your entire party too. There are other shielding champions you can use, basically, is where I'm going with this. So, but just know Dungeon Master is one of them. Shaka, when the shields fell. Shaka has shields as well from this, so you could use Shaka from this event. So yeah. Basically, just make sure you've got a Dungeon Master and maybe another shielder in your party, and you should be okay. Let's move on to the newest variants for Nixie. What's a spell slot? Nixie starts in the formation. She can be moved but not removed. Any champions used with the DPS role must have Charisma 17+. This is basically their way of saying, hey, you should probably just use Nixie as your DPS. Nixie has Charisma 17+. But Nixie's also a support champion. But they're like, hey, start using Nixie as a DPS. Okay. If the trees are thin, let the flames begin. That's an interesting saying. Nixie starts in the formation. She can be moved but not removed. Nixie's Wild Magic Surge ability starts out unlocked. This is a thing. We'll talk about it. Nixie attacks faster as her base attack cooldown is reduced by 2 seconds. Nixie's base... Let the flames begin. Nixie's basic attack is a fireball. Nixie's base attacks sometimes accidentally light a random champion on fire. What? This is the friendly fire variant, folks. Literally. Damaging them for 20% of their max health. So Nixie will light the party on fire. Potentially, folks. This is another good time to have someone like Shaka or a Dungeon Master with some shields, or Ontreus, who's a member of Nixie's group. Shield yourself and let the damage get soaked up by the shield. It is a random occurrence, so it's not as horrible as it sounds. But yeah. The limitless possibilities of Nixie. Nixie starts in the formation. She can be moved but not removed. This is because these variants, they want you to learn how to use the champion. You may only use champions that are tieflings, chaotic, or have a total ability score of 78 or lower. This is because Nixie specializations feature these types of characters. So they're basically encouraging you to build a formation around her specializations. Yeah. So generally fairly straightforward to do. Again, if you see, like, if you go to test it in a free play and you're having problems with it, turn that free play push into a deep push, get more favor. Favor's your friend. Favor's your friend. All right, we're going to hop into a Nixie free play. We're going to talk about each of the champions here for a moment. All right, there we go. So Nixie is over here in slot 1. Now we have a gigantic slot 1 box because we got so many champions available. Nixie's right here. Let's throw her there. Dungeon Master is right here in slot 6. I need to change Dungeon Master's outfit, probably. Just, you know, got him in his Arch Magi stiff. And then we have a Shaka, who also needs an outfit change. Hold on, folks. This is the best skin for Shaka, in my opinion. I love it so much. All right, here we go. Let's get Shaka back in his white adventuring gear, because that's what you want to wear when you're going on adventures. White. This is how you know prestidigitation is a thing. All right. Let's talk about our boy Shaka. Shaka is a male tiefling warlock, neutral good, healing support. They are a part of the Rivals of Waterdeep affiliation, and this is a full affiliation. Everybody is in the game, so you can build out a full Rivals of Waterdeep group if you'd like. Base attack, Eldritch Blast. This is, you can tell it's a magical attack because it's got the little like magic missile type symbol. Beam of crackling green shoots toward an enemy, dealing damage. I want to be very clear. Eldritch Blast, the slowest attack, just animation wise. Look at this. It shoots out that green and it doesn't actually kill them until it's done. It's yeah. Alright, Shaka's all about that puzzle life. A celestial puzzle. Shaka attempts to solve a celestial puzzle with the potential for great rewards. 4 random slots in the formation are assigned a random tag. Tags are things up here like tiefling or warlock or male. Okay. For each champion in these slots that match the slot's tag, Shaka buffs the party by 150%, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. The total effect is buffed by 25% for each other Rival of Waterdeep champion in the formation. So you really want to match as many slots as possible with the formation that you think is optimal. Okay, don't drop in suboptimal champions just to try to get an extra stack, generally speaking. Okay, but because it stacks multiplicatively, you want at least 2. Otherwise, Shaka's not really doing a whole lot for you. The power comes from the multiplicative stacking. So let's see what this looks like. Oh, we've got Dungeon Master in one right now. You can only see the tags when someone's in the formation slot, which is annoying when you haven't built out a full formation yet. But as you can see, they're looking for either a female champion or a non-binary champion. For that slot, Dungeon Master is neither of those. Up here they want a dwarf. Oh, back here they want healing. Dungeon Master matches that. You can tell because he's got this glow at his feet that wasn't there before. Oh, they want another dwarf. See, no glow, glow. No glow, glow. And another female non-binary. So Dungeon Master in this formation would want to be back here. Nixie would want to either be here or here to light up those slots. And once you do, hey, we've got 2. That means we're into the multiplicativeness, and we're at least getting something out of Shaka's stuff instead of just the base numbers. Celestial Resistance. Shaka adds temp HP to the entire party. The amount varies when changing areas. So it's just once. It's just on transition. We can see, a shield over here. It only happens when you start new areas. That makes Shaka fantastic for that Dungeon Master Tiamat variant, because Shaka does it every area. Dungeon Master only does it occasionally. Sorry, I forgot the rest. This is increased by 25% for each of the celestial puzzle slots that are filled properly. Stacking additively, though. So the shields can't get too outrageous. But you can increase the values by matching puzzle slots. Feast or Famine. Shaka increases the effect of a celestial puzzle by 20% for each puzzle slot he's adjacent to. This ability can be buffed by equipment and feats. So right now I am adjacent to this one. If I come over here, I'd be adjacent to this one. Ideally, this would be the place to go, because then I'd be adjacent to 2. That would give me a bigger modifier, right? So this informs your placement of Shaka, trying to place them in the formation where they're adjacent to as many puzzle slots as possible. That's helpful. It's going to get you a little more out of what's going on. Specialization choices: Sunday Edition or Better Luck Next Time. Better Luck Next Time. The slots chosen for Celestial Puzzle are re-rolled. This is, I'm just gonna say it. This is a pointless specialization. There are only very rare times where you would want to re-roll a puzzle, and it's probably It's the only, and it would be like in an event, but even then, like Sunday Edition's probably going to be better. The Sunday Edition gives you an additional puzzle slot. It just gives you one more puzzle slot. That allows you to multiplicatively stack higher, and thus get you more power. It's just the way to go. Because the reality is there is no way, like you could re-roll them, but it's just RNG about what's going to happen. Whereas if you want to re-roll them, like if you start an adventure and you level Shaka up and it's bad slots, and you're not in an event where you spent leaves, like at event tokens, you can just start the event over. It'll re-roll his puzzle slots. What you can't do is like change his specializations, like reset his specializations or anything. That just resets this. It doesn't re-roll his puzzle slots. So generally speaking, like 99.99% of your life, you're going to be choosing Sunday Edition. We'll just make it real easy on everybody. We'll talk about their second set of specializations here. This actually, you're determining what their ultimate is. You can either have a blinding wall of light or a disintegrating wall of light, but you can't have both. So, blinding wall of light, this pushes enemies back when it appears, and then it appears near the formation, so it's pretty much right in front of the tank line of the formation. And enemies that pass through it miss most of their attacks. It is a defensive ultimate. Yeah, that's really what it is. So when you have a ton of enemies sitting on your tank line, it's going to make them miss a lot and keep you a little more survivable. Doesn't do anything to ranged enemies or ranged bosses, like stationary bosses. They don't care. Melee only, right? Disintegrating wall of light, it drops close to where the enemies spawn, pretty much on the right-hand side of the screen. Enemies that pass through it have a chance, and I think it's based off their health value and the damage you're doing, to just instantly die. Just instantly die. If they are not killed, like usually it's the bosses that are not killed, like have a chance to not be killed instantly. If they're not killed, they'll take additional damage for a little while. So it is an insta-kill, or it is debuff. It's fantastic for bosses that are like armored and walk across the screen. You drop it, they walk through it. There's a chance they just die. Doesn't work so well on stationary enemies, and if they've already walked past the spawn point, well, too late. Yeah, let me show you. Boom. That's where it's going to be. If they're already past that, then it's not going to do anything. Okay. It lasts a good long while. Look at that go. Yeah. So pretty neat. I like it. There are times where I will redo boss levels over and over and over again based off Shaka's ultimate just to try to one-shot them because they're being a pain. Because they're being a pain. All right, that's everything. That's Shaka. He's, it's really everything about the complexity of Shaka is trying to match the puzzle slots. Item-wise, we got a pair of Damage All Champions items. We got a Celestial Puzzle item. So boost that damage. We got Celestial Resistance. This is going to boost the shield. Feast or Famine. That's the buff if you're next to the puzzle slots. And then we can reduce the cooldown. They have a lot of feats, folks, and they got some more interesting stuff, as we can see here. We do have Increase All Champions damage, of course, because they're support. Our Puzzle Master, an additional slot in the formation is assigned to random tag and can be matched to further increase the Celestial Puzzle. So you can get, with using the specialization and this feat, you could have 6 tags in the formation. And if you could match them all, that's huge. That's huge. We can buff Celestial Puzzle. We can buff Celestial Resistance. These are the shields. There's a wisdom tag here. This gets you to wisdom 14. That's Nrak territory. Nrak, N-R-A-K-K. That's a champion who buffs, who does really messed up things with people's abilities if they meet his wisdom requirement. So things can get a little wild with shields and the buffs because of Nrak here. If you do that. And then there's some Feast and Famine feats that were added, so there are a wide array of feats for Shaka. Let's throw a familiar on Shaka. Let's talk about Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master rules! Yes, he does. Dungeon Master, male, human, wizard. Age over 1,000. And for game rules, that means 1,001, just so you know. Lawful good, healing, support, and gold. We saw healing on Shaka, but you note there weren't any healing abilities. They use healing in reference to temp HP shields. Just so you know, that gets bundled under the healing tag. No affiliation whatsoever. Base attack, magic missile. Dungeon Master fires white rays at a random enemy. Now, the Dungeon Master rules ability you'll see is level 0. This means it applies even when they're not in the formation yet. Dungeon Master is eligible to start in all adventures, even if the patron, variant, or other restrictions would say otherwise. Now, what that means is if the restriction that we listed off, like in these variant restrictions, says, hey, no males allowed, or no humans allowed, or no wizards allowed, or only DPS champions, Dungeon Master can go in anyway. Dungeon Master's like, yeah, I make the rules here. I'm the Dungeon Master now. So, Dungeon Master rules. Now, once you get in that variant, if it's got restrictions that say, hey, at certain times a champion can be knocked out of the adventure, Dungeon Master's not immune to that. Dungeon Master can just go anywhere he wants. Okay, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Let me throw some stuff in here. All right. Patience Young Ones. Dungeon Master increases the damage of all champions by 100%. For each champion in the formation that is 20 years or younger, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of champions that are age 20 or younger in the game currently, so... If the sum of the 6 youngest champions' ages... I mean, there are a number of them, but they're not necessarily... Putting them all together in one group isn't necessarily the best idea. If the sum of the 6 youngest champions' ages is 100 years or less, the bonus is increased by 400%. But post-stack. That's the way. Just so you know. So it's okay if you get it, but don't try to work overly hard for it. All right. We now have Nixie. Nixie is under 20, so Nixie and Dungeon Master are gonna get along well together. Words of encouragement. Dungeon Master adds temporary HP points to the entire party upon entering an area when Dungeon Master is present. What? Folks, where'd Dungeon Master go? Where'd Dungeon Master go? They're gone. They took a break. They decided there was something else that needed to be done in this moment. And they left Uni the Unicorn in their place. Uni does nothing, folks. Uni does nothing for you. Just to be clear. This is the Disappearing Act ability. Upon entering a new area, there's a 50% chance that Dungeon Master does not appear in the formation, is replaced by a frightened Uni the Unicorn. My Uni isn't frightened, but that's a skin issue. While Dungeon Master is away, the formation's gold is increased by an amount. So you get more gold find when they're gone, but you don't get the temp HP shields. If you return to a previously completed area, Dungeon Master is always with the formation. So, we will switch. Who do we get this time? Nope, it's still Uni. Still Uni. Here's what they're supposed to look like. This kind of like... And for whatever reason, because of the Archmagi outfit I had on them earlier, it just cancels that animation. So, so right now we just get an increased gold find in the party, which is nice, if you need gold, which newer players usually do. So yeah. Specializations, there's 2 listed here, but there's actually a third. Dungeon Master has a secret third specialization. We will talk about that. So, what's shown? Where did you go this time versus Fear Not, champions? Where did you go this time? The chance Dungeon Master doesn't join the formation is increased to 75%, and the gold find amount is increased by 100%. So if what you really want is lots of gold, and you don't care about the shields, you go, where did you go this time? This is the gold find spec. And honestly, as a newer players, if you're just using Dungeon Master because you want to use Dungeon Master, go gold find is a big deal. Being able to get more gold so you can upgrade your champions more, that is early on, that is a form of power for your champions. Do it. Fear Not, champions. The chance Dungeon Master doesn't join the formation is decreased to 25%. And temporary HP gained by words of encouragement are increased by 100%. So this is if you need Dungeon Master shields for survivability. You go Fear Not, champions. And there are times when you will need that. Right? Like in that Tiamat variant, you want Dungeon Master around as much as possible. You would go Fear Not, champions. There are variants out there where you're taking damage all the time. All the time. Like every few seconds you're going to take damage. Those variants are rough. Fear Not, champions. Okay. We'll go with that one. Now I did say they do have another specialization. It's hidden until you need it. Should you need me? Wait, wrong IP. Dungeon Master has a specialization called Special Guest Star. This specialization will only appear as an option if you are in an adventure or variant that restricts the use of certain champions. Like we were talking about earlier, if it says no male champions or champions who are charismas 17 plus only, Special Guest Star, you bring in Dungeon Master, Special Guest Star will appear as an option. This is kind of the true power of Dungeon Master, is his ability to bring in a Special Guest Star. So, when you choose that, it will randomly choose from all of the, well, not completely randomly, but it will choose a champion that is not eligible for that adventure. The way it does this is it looks at the bench seats, so all along the bottom, all of the bench seats along the bottom of the thing, so bench seat 1 through 12. If there's a bench seat that has no eligible champions at all, Dungeon Master will choose a champion from that bench seat at random. Otherwise, if there's at least one champion available from every bench seat, then he's just going to choose somebody that is not eligible at random. And you will see it show up as the specialization choice. It will show their face. If you want that champion in your adventure, click that specialization. Keep in mind, they only stay in that adventure while Dungeon Master is in your formation. So if you ever pull Dungeon Master out, that guest star goes with them. Okay. So this is a way you have the ability to potentially bring in someone maybe pretty powerful that's going to help you do a variant that otherwise you might not be able to beat. It is completely random who is chosen. The only way you can re-roll it is to restart the adventure. Have I done that before? Yes. Did I hate it? Yes. It is just the most annoying thing ever. It's not the way the game was intended to be played. No, they're not going to make it easier. The way Dungeon Master is intended to be used is that you pull it up, you see the special guest star, you decide, do I want a special guest star or not? I do this often. I'll be like, hey, let's see. Oh, Dungeon Master obviously is available. Let's see who he gives me. No, that's not good enough for me to want to bring in Dungeon Master right now. And then I just pull Dungeon Master out of my formation. I go use somebody else. Dungeon Master is an option. Dungeon Master is a great tool in your toolbox, but he's not always going to be the best tool. So yeah. That is his hidden specialization. Oh yeah. Ultimate attacks. The ultimate, not ultimate attack. Invigorate. You'll see it's this kind of rewind icon. And that's good because that's what it is. Invigorate. Dungeon Master waves his hands, and the ultimate ability with the longest remaining cooldown immediately recharges. Immediately. The cooldown for this ultimate is set to the time the recharged ultimate had left. Dungeon Master increases the damage of all champions in the formation for half of the time his ultimate is cooling down. Now, it doesn't tell you how much here. How much, Dungeon Master? I have a note in my guide to Dungeon Master on the subreddit that says it's 400%. So the base value somewhere, somehow, the base value I got told was 400%. Could have been in the champion spotlight. Might have been somewhere else. Yeah, it was the champion spotlight. So it just doesn't say it in game. It's unfortunate, but that's what's going on. So it is also, not only does it reset a cooldown, an ultimate that you might want to have back, it's also a power button. It's also, hey, here's 5 times damage. And that's cool too. I'm going to show this off, but I need to show this off when Uni is on the screen. So we will delay for a moment. And we'll talk about items. We've got a pair of Damage All Champions items. We've got Patience Young Ones buff. So that's for the 20 and younger crowd. Words of Encouragement, that's your shield. The effect of Disappearing Act. So this modifies either the gold find or the shield value, depending on, like, did they leave or not? Which is nice. And then the effect of Invigorate. This means that 400% isn't 400%. If you've got this item, it's actually going to be a lot higher because this is affecting the boost you get when you hit Invigorate. So base with no item is 400%. But it gets better. It gets better. We just don't know how much because the game doesn't want to tell us. Sad. All right. Do we have no uni yet? Damage All Champions items. We get Patience Young Ones. A lot of Patience Young Ones. We get Words of Encouragement. We get Disappearing Act. So there's ways to boost some things. He could use a few more feats, and he'll probably get them eventually. Like he just got this new Prodigal Leader feat with his new. It doesn't show it here. I have to show this because it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why is it not? Isn't it? Wasn't it? Oh, there it is. Folks. What? It's the socks with the flip-flops that kills me. Really. Just, what? What did you do? Yeah. That's skin out now for Dungeon Master. That's a skin out now for Dungeon Master. All right. Until Uni the Unicorn shows up, we will move on and talk about Nixie. We will come back, though, and talk about Invigorate. We will come back and talk about Invigorate. All right. Nixie is the newest champion to arrive in Idle Champions. Wow, that shield has just made her health disappear. That's great. Nixie, female tiefling sorcerer. She's a wild magic sorcerer, if you didn't already pick that up. Chaotic neutral, DPS support. I would argue chaotic evil, but it's her intelligence that makes her chaotic neutral. She does horrible things. She's just not smart enough to know better. So she's neutral, I guess. Oh, that 3 int. She's a member of the Awful Ones. That's Antreus and Nixie so far, but that's a new affiliation. It is not a complete affiliation. So more Awful Ones coming in the future. Basic attack is potted plant. No, that's not right. Nixie's currently a plant and cannot attack, because of course she is. Nixie has a magic base attack, and we will get back to that. Fireball? Nixie attacks with a ball of fire centered on a random target, dealing 1 hit of damage to all enemies in a small radius. Strix has this too. It should be pretty familiar to everybody. It's just Fireball? Yeah. Oh, come on. Uni. Dang it. I did pick the one that has him here more often, so it's going to take a while, folks. Blazing Charisma. Nixie increases the damage of all champions with a charisma of 17 plus, including herself. So this is the main buff. Obviously, pretty solid requirement, so you're going to need another DPS. If you're going to use her as a support, the DPS also has to be 17 plus charisma, or else you're just wasting your time having Nixie in the formation as a support. So keep that in mind. Wild Magic Surge. Each time Nixie makes a normal attack, there is a high chance that a random Wild Magic event happens, like her turning into a potted plant. They don't list off all the effects here, but fear not, champions. I have that in my guide. It was also in the Champion Spotlight. So 20% chance that there's no effect at all, and that she just keeps doing what she's doing. 20% chance of engulfing flames, where Nixie lights the area of her attack on fire for 20 seconds. So everywhere around her attack will be on fire for 20 seconds. While lit, it deals 1 second of bud damage to enemies in the effect every second. So you can see we lit that area on fire. That was engulfing flames. That's what it looks like, and it sits there for 20 seconds. That's fantastic, folks. This alone is fantastic. Hit-based enemies, get wrecked. Armored enemies, as long as your bud's high enough, get wrecked. Endless streams of enemies, yeah, walk right into your death. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic ability. Fantastic. It is random, though. 20% chance. Potted Punch. We've seen that one. Nixie turns into a 10% chance. Nixie turns into a potted plant for 5 seconds and can't attack. This increases the damage bonus of Blazing Charisma by 100% while in that form. So, if you're a support, no big deal. And also increases it for an additional 15 seconds afterwards. So she gets a damage boost. She takes it a moment as a potted plant, and then she gets a damage boost. So that's nice. So the potted plant actually isn't bad. It's actually good, because plants are good. All right, here we have Uni the Unicorn. So here's the thing. Dungeon Master waves his hands, folks, right? Does he, though? Let me make sure I'm going to get this correctly on the slide. Oh, this is going to mess up. There we go. I'm just making sure. I want you to keep your eyes on the left side of the screen, folks. The left side of the screen. I'm going to pop a Disintegrating Wall of Light. Hey, that's nice. It's going to be there for a moment. Then it's going to go away. Then I'm going to hit Invigorate. Watch the area on the left side of the screen. Oh, hey there. He shows up just to wave at you and throw out a little bit of magic. And then he disappears again. And then I can use Disintegrating Wall of Light again. That's how it works, folks. That's how it works. I love that animation effect because, they went the extra mile to make sure something happened. Something happened when Dungeon Master wasn't around. They didn't have to, but it's I love it. I love it so much. All right, back to Nixie. So another 10% chance of a coin cascade. Gold coins also fly out from her attack's explosion, worth 10% of a normal monster kill. This is pretty fantastic, because I want to make it clear here. It didn't say you have to kill the enemy for that to happen. Azaka farm what? Nixie's Coin Cascade is a miniature Azaka farm. Azaka can farm gold off chips. She bullies her enemies into giving her their lunch money. And Nixie does that too, which makes total sense. It does make total sense. It is a random effect, so it's not as easily produced as Azaka's. But it is just kind of another step they're taking, I think, to really kind of make it so Azaka farming is an optional thing in the game. It isn't really required anymore. There's other ways to gain lots of gold. Oh, hey, she's blue. Da-ba-dee-da-ba-da. Did you know Feeling Blue has a 10% chance to turn Nixie's skin blue for 10 seconds? That's it. No other effects. She just becomes blue for a moment, like we all do occasionally. I wish it was only for 10 seconds in real life. That'd be nice. With no other effects. 10% chance of shockwave. Nixie also can send out a shockwave that stuns monsters in the attack's area for 5 seconds. So, random crowd control effect. 10% chance for Eldritch Entourage. This summons a random monster to attack the party. And 10% chance to enlarge. This just happened before she turned into a potted plant. Nixie's size and damage increased by 100% for 20 seconds. So this is the dare. There we go. See, she's real big now. She's back to normal size. When she's real big like that, she's doing double damage. Double damage. So a lot of random effects from Wild Magic Surge for Nixie. Mostly positive, it feels like. Feels like mostly positive. All right. Spec choices. We can have an Infernal Impact, a Flawed Force, or we can Anarchy Amplified. Infernal Impact, Nixie increases the damage bonus of Blazing Charisma by 200% for each Tiefling champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. All of these bonuses, all of these specializations are going to take a specific type of champion, count them, and then stack multiplicatively. So this specialization is kind of a big deal for Nixie. So Flawed Force, it does 150% chance for each champion with a total ability score of 78 or less. Anarchy Amplified is 100% chance for each chaotic champion in the formation. So this isn't a situation where... It's still kind of a situation where the higher number is where you want to go, to be honest. But if you have the same number across the board, let's say this was 2s across the board, you actually want to look, you would want to choose the one that has the higher multiplier, which is the left. Highest multipliers on the left, lowest multipliers on the right. So in a tie situation, you want to go, the tiebreaker is whatever one is further left, because that's going to have the higher multiplier. Right? Let's get her leveled up. Boom. Okay, Fireball! That's the ultimate. We'll get back to that. Gigantic Growth. This increases the damage bonus of Wild Magic Surge Potted Punch. So that's when she's in the potted plant form and she buffs all the damage. It increases that. And it increases the damage from Wild Magic Surge. I've already got this at a pretty high number from just blue gear. So this gets nice. This gets nice. So those damage bonuses from those wild magic effects get to be a big deal with Gigantic Growth. Right? So yeah, we have a pair of Damage All Champions item. You'll notice my items are all blue so far. I may have opened some Electrum chests already. Damage All Champions. We get Blazing Charisma. We get Gigantic Growth. So we can make that even better. And we get the specialization item. I want to point out here, specialization stack multiplicatively. However, this item applies post-stack, not pre-stack. So Nixie isn't super mega broken like mathematically like Ontreus. Ontreus had a pre-stack bonus. And this reduces the ultimate cooldown. Let's talk about her Fireball. So her base attack is a Fireball, but her ultimate attack is Fireball. Nixie casts a gigantic fireball that engulfs the entire enemy side of the screen, dealing 1 ultimate hit to all enemies. In addition, there is a 10% chance for each monster hit by this attack to be surrounded by engulfing flames. Remember, engulfing flames is the one that drops fire on the ground and burns for 20 seconds, doing damage every second. This is amazing. Primarily if you are at a place where you are building up lots of enemies on your tank line, it's going to hit everyone. It's also great for stationary bosses like this, because if they're all on your tank line, there's a chance that they could all drop engulf flames, and that's just going to just destroy them, right? So we go Fireball, boom, right? But it does damage everywhere. Unfortunately, we didn't trigger engulfing flames. Sad. But we could try again because we have Dungeon Master. because we have Dungeon Master. Come on, Nixie. Throw that fireball. There we go. Nope, didn't do it again. Oh, well. But that's what it looks like. And if you have a lot of enemies on the screen, you get a lot more potential chance for engulfing flames. All right. So, that was everything, right? Yep. Feats. We get damage all champions, but we get self-damage because she's a DPS as well. We can buff Blazing Charisma. There's a feat for the specialization choices, which is neat. That's a neat feat. There's a gigantic growth feat. But of course, there's an immolation feat. Of course. Nixie's attack deal an additional 1 second of bud damage every second for 5 seconds. Of course she lights everything she attacks on fire. This is fantastic, folks. This is part of her skin offer right now, but you can also just pick it up, so you can get it with cash, but you can also just pick it up with 50,000 gems at any time. Here's the skin. I love this skin. I love the twirling fire baton. Yeah. Also comes with a familiar that I don't love as much. Darkle Bark the Bear Owl. It's the tongue, folks. The tongue just creeps me out. Look, it's a thing. All right. We have talked about all of the stuff. Now, I want to talk about, if you'll note, I do have blue gear here. And people might be like, how'd you get blue gear already? Electrum chests, folks. Electrum checks from codes like the one that you can type in today, which for some reason is fire, 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 fire. I don't know why. Nixie may have made the code today. When you get new champions in an event, the first thing you want to do is pop all your Electrum chests. After you've unlocked all the champions, they have no gear whatsoever. Priority goes to Electrum chests. The reason is Electrum chests drop gear for all champions you own, which is a problem if everybody has gear. But when some people don't, it creates like a little funnel to jump gear right into those people. So all I did was pop a bunch of Electrum chests, and the gear went in that version, in the previous version, went straight to Nixie. I did this yesterday on stream. So Nixie, because I opened so many Electrum chests, Nixie ended up with full blue gear, because that can drop up to full blue gear. Now your goal though isn't to get full blue from Electrums. It's great if it happens, but the idea is to try to get as close to full green as possible. Full green as possible. And you can do that with a combination of Electrums and silvers. I have a bunch of silvers. You'll note I have a bunch. Somehow I tied for totals. I got 76 silvers and 76 golds. This is via using all those bounty contracts I talked about. I did a bunch of free plays for Nixie, and this is what I get. This is how you get a lot of gear. So if I hadn't gotten full greens, I would then, from Electrums, I would then go to opening the silvers for Nixie, and that ideally could get me to full greens. It could also get you to full blues. It just depends on how many you have, right? But your goal here is not to try to get to full epic as quickly as possible, because that's impossible. That's just a math problem. It's RNG dependent. The goal is to get to full blue as quickly as possible, and you can do that with the rules for chests. Like I said, Electrum has a rule. It drops gear for everyone, but if someone doesn't have gear, it's going to focus them first. So we start there. Then you take those guaranteed chests that are the silvers. You know they're going to go straight to Nixie because they got her name on the chest. You dump those in afterwards. Even if all you're getting is duplicate gear, that's item levels, that's power, right? So like I already have 25, 30, 17. I've got a bunch of item levels on these items. That's making these bonuses bigger already. If I only had green gear, then we move on to the rules for gold chests. Gold chests can drop green, blue, and purple gear, but gold chests will guarantee you an upgrade, but only to either green gear from white or to blue gear from green. We don't want to waste our upgrade, our guaranteed upgrade on a green item. So you get your items to green from Electrums and silvers first. Then you're going to be full blue in 6 gold chests. That's it, 6. So, I already got full blue. That's fine. So right now I'm just going. I want epics, and I'm going to get all of them here. because I'm opening a ridiculous amount of chests. There we go. And then every other chest I'm doing after this is just duplicate item levels. That's how you get power on your champions. So there's a full epic Nixie. Currently 140 to 200 item level, because it's a little random. Sure. But that's kind of the order operations during an event, or even if you get a time gate champion. Anything except your evergreen champions, because those get gear out of regular silvers. You start with regular silvers, and then you move to regular golds for them. But when you're picking up new event or time gate champions, pop all your electrums first, then pop the named silvers. I like on my new player account, I like to wait until they are full green. And then and only then will I start opening the gold chests for them. That's just my own personal rule of thumb. All right, we're going to take a short musical break. And it's time for the Q&A. We got over a dozen questions already backed up. Appreciate your patience. We will get through them all, I promise. Gabe grabbed everything that you put question colon in front of. The song we're going to listen to is 3 Cheers. This is a song for Dungeon Masters. Be right back, folks.
This one's for the Dungeon Masters, weaving stories each week anew. Scheduling can be a disaster, but they always pull us through. We raise our glass to you with heartfelt cheers, even though you brought us tears. You guided us through thick and thin for many days and many years. This one's for the NPCs, both prepared and on the fly. Denizens of the world we share, to both love and terrorize. Will our heroes live or will they die? We'll just have to improvise. Tell us to roll and give it a try, then it's time to throw the dice. 3 cheers for the Dungeon Masters, for giving us their all. 3 cheers for the story crafters. Please join us in our cause. This one's for the mighty monsters, the demons and the gods. The fireballs and lightning bolts, cast from staves, wands and rods. You're the master of the rules, the champions of lore. We raise our dice to you, 'cause you leave us wanting more. 3 cheers for the Dungeon Masters, for giving us their all. 3 cheers for the story crafters. Please join us in our cause. Cheers for the Dungeon Masters, for giving us their all. 3 cheers for the story crafters. Please join us in our cause.
Hey, and we're back. What did I want to do real quick? One of the first things I like to do when I get full epic, because, of course I do, is throw on legendaries. You occasionally get these legendary potions, and, I have legendaries on all my champions, so they don't get used that much. I also have a Potions of Polish. I will decide if I want to throw one on a new champion, and I want to throw it over here on, where is it? Specializations. Why is this not in order? We'll do the specializations one, and we'll call it a day. And then if you like to forge legendaries, if you're to the point where you've unlocked the ability to do so, you know, throwing down. What are you doing? We'll just make everything. Why? I didn't click on you. Man, the forge has got some issues, but it is. Yeah, I didn't click on that either. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why does this always break for me? Why does it always break for me? All right. There we go. There's a full legendary Nixie. Yay. Yay. Okay, let's dive into the questions. I'm going to hit the ones that are about this event or events in general or about these champions first. Then I'll clean up all the rest. I mean, we got like 40 minutes. This should be no problem. You're too fast. The visuals not to, I guess, but come on. I do this on my time, not theirs. The Bard's Forge asks, when setting up automation for the event, do you get extra chests for going deeper? No. Nope, I literally do mine to 51 and then reset it. And 51 is just a kind of a thing because there have been glitches in the past where maybe it didn't always give you the chest at 50, and so 51 isn't that big of a deal, so I just go to 51 and reset there. And I reset there. Anthony Snow, how do you do the achievement for Dungeon Master 0 to 100? Let's go over here. What's that one called again? Dungeon Master has... here we go. Dungeon Master says, with my patience guide, 6 young ones for 100 steps. They made his Dungeon Master's achievements be more like the things he says in the TV show, so they're a little cryptic. But I have a guide for that over on the subreddit. You can find all my guides over there on the wiki, subreddit wiki. So what that one is actually asking for is to have Dungeon Master's Patience Young One ability apply to 6 champions in your formation for 100 levels. So you just need to build out a formation that has 6 champions whose ages are 20 or younger, along with Dungeon Master. Put whoever you want in the rest of the formation, complete 100 areas. You don't have to do it all in one run, but you can. If you're having a problem going 100 areas in one run, you can always just reset and do it again. That's all it wants. That's all it wants. All right. Hit up that guide for... here, I'll drop this in. Well, you know what I should just do? I have a guide to the event itself. Let me see if the game is... the Reddit is going to like me enough to let me get there quickly. There we go. You can find links to the 3 event champions as well as some just general event tips there. So that's what's going on here with Dungeon Master Says. With Dungeon Master Says. Oh, with this one. Now, one thing I do want to point out, we didn't talk about this, but with the achievements, the only achievements that you have to do during the event are these numbered ones. The rest are good to do during the event. Easier in some ways. But these are the only ones that have to be done. You have to be in a free play to get these numbered achievements. But it can be any of the event free plays. Okay. As for the other ones that are specific to the champions, like defeat 1,000 enemies with Nixie's Engulfing Flames, it's going to happen eventually as I use Nixie. I haven't even tried. I've already gotten 300. Those types of things are just, read them. They can be done at any time, truly. They don't have to be done during the event, but you can if you want to. You can if you want to. Niscus, does the new Dungeon Master skin have any visual change to the ultimate? or when Dungeon Master is outside of the formation. So to Uni, I don't know because I don't have it. I will say when Dungeon Master is in the Arch Magi, I want to say Uni has a little different look, but I mean that's it. I don't there wasn't any difference for this one, so I don't know. Someone that has that, yeah. See, the Uni's got a little scarf on now. So, there could be something there. Uni might have, a more vacation look to them. Hard to say. Jimmy's. Do you know how the basic math works? For Nixie and Entree's specialization, the first choice is 200, the second is 150, third is 100. Right. Trying to wrap my head around how it works. Well, it's multiplicative. So you have 3 champs for the first choice versus 6 champs for the third choice. The larger number is better. So, hold on, let me fix captions. The larger number is better because you're dealing not with additive, but with multiplicative values. So, 100 times itself 6 times is far better than 200 times itself 3 times. That's what we're talking about. Because when you're multiplicatively, when you're multiplying each of these against each other, when it's a multiplicative stack, you can basically take the number at the front and then all the zeros that would be there and add them in, right? This is the easy. This is not. I'm just giving you an easy way to figure this out. You're looking at the zeros and then the number times itself a couple times, right? So the more zeros, the better. And, if you've got 6 100s, that's a lot more zeros than 3 200s, right? So the only time you're really worried about the actual value is when the numbers are the same. If it's 3 3 3, then you're going with the one that has the higher number that's being stacked multiplicatively. Right? But if it was even if it was 3 4 4 or 3 4 3 or 3 3 4, and your option here was 200% multiplicative 3 times versus 100% multiplicative 4 times, the 4 times is better because there's more zeros. Right? That's when you're dealing with multiplicatively, that's how you have to think about it. You're dealing with the orders of magnitude, that's each zero. As opposed to just the numerical value. Orders of magnitude is a bigger way. Multiplicatively is a bigger, that's the good way, versus additively, which is just how many times are we getting this same thing, right? Because if it was 200% 3 times additively and 100% 6 times additively, that's the same thing, roughly. Maybe not. Because we're dealing with percentages. I hate percentages. I don't do this on stream. But you know what I'm saying. You're closer. That's closer to a similar thing than the multiplicatively is just a bigger deal. Multiplicatively is a bigger deal. Well, we weren't dealing with 4 times, though, Arnichi. We were dealing with 6 times. Oh, you're talking about my example. I mean, listen to chat. I don't know. But in your example of 3 champs for the first choice and 6 for the third, the third is the bigger number. One interesting way you can test this kind of stuff out on your own is if you have these. Potions of specialization. I have a couple. Potions of specialization. So you can choose a specialization, and then you can pop this, and then you can look at the number, and then you can pop this, and then you can see the other one. Yeah. Once you kind of get it down, then you don't have to pop those anymore, which is why I have a lot of them. I don't use them anymore. Oh, this is... Okay. I got it doubled. Plague? Maybe that's what we're going for. Brand new. Welcome to the game. Very few champs available. All right. We're doing these variants with limited leaves and low favor. If it's slow to push variants, should I push as deep in each one as possible, take the best advantage of the leaves, or just unlock the reward and move on? Or does it depend on my situation? Well, we want to back up a little bit there. Because you said limited leaves, which sure, that's fine, but that's going to change over time. And then you said low favor, and that's the problem. If you're attempting to do the variants with low favor, please don't. If you have low favor in a variant, but you can complete it, then just complete it and bounce. I mean, that's generally the rule for all the variants anyway. Complete them and bounce. But if you have low favor and those things aren't showing as green, you need to do it. You really should be just doing a free play to get yourself favor, so you're not making the variants difficult on yourself. You only want to push for favor in a free play, not in a variant. Free play or variants have rules that restrict your ability to push, so you're not going to get the return on investment there. So I recommend doing that. That is the first thing I do on any account, on a new account, especially on my new accounts. In a variant, in an event, is try to get everything to show as green, so difficulty easy. Then I know I can do them all. But until then, I won't go near them. And I apply that same rule to the regular campaign for variants, too. In general, in the regular campaign, I ignore variants on new players' accounts up until I need to do them. Until the game says you have to do it to progress or to earn something that I want. And then I'm very specific about which ones I do, and I always make sure that they're green. So, yeah. Okay, that's not really for the event. That's for something else. Okay, Brent Copeland. Is there a reason I keep getting stuck on the boss of Nixie's free play? Well, every event free play has the same boss. The boss doesn't lose health or dies, and the mobs just keep respawning. So the way the boss works, let's talk about Bailey Errol Tavabent. Yes. That's a name. That's a name. That's a drow name. This is Bailey Errol Tavabent. Bailey Errol Tavabent spawns with drow armor. That's this purple bar with the spiders. The purple bar only goes down when you kill the things she spawns. She has 20 HP, but what that really means is you need to kill 20 of the things she's spawning to get rid of this purple bar. When you get rid of the purple bar, you will then be able to actually attack her. If for some reason and the enemies are spawning and you're killing them, but it's not removing the purple bar, that's a bug. Restart your client. That's the first thing. Turn it off, turn it back on again. Because I have not run into that issue. But now that she's dead, now she has regular health. And then you just got to hit her. Like that. That's it. If it isn't functioning that way, restart your client first. A lot of the 99% of the bugs in this game are cleared when you restart your client. It's an issue with the game just not managing stuff well the longer your client is open. I shut my game down every day, so I don't run into a lot of the bugs that a lot of people who leave their clients up all the time run into. But when I do run into a bug, I just restart my client and it goes away most of the time. Yeah, when in doubt, restart your client. Now, another thing you can do is if you don't want to restart your client for some strange reason, if you have multiple parties, you can switch to another party. Ultimately, what you're doing to clear the bug is you're resetting the game state, and switching to another party does that for some reason. But close your client. That's usually the best thing to do. Yeah. So if she's not losing health, either you're not killing the enemies or you need to restart your client. Now, if after you restart your client, you're killing enemies and she's not losing that purple health bar, submit a ticket. But I ground out 325,000 event tokens worth of runs, of free plays, and on Nixie's free play, and never got hung up. It was all automated, and it never stopped. So it feels like maybe it's a client reset thing, or maybe you weren't sure exactly how it was supposed to work. All right, let's go back and we'll hit all of the other questions now. Got about 25 minutes left. 20 minutes. We got a song to go out on too. Fubuki Kamiyo, how to get Erois symbol achievement. Nova's achievement for the crew stacks when there's no stacks in that ability. If there's no stacks in that ability, you probably can't get it. All right. Hold on. Let me pull up Nova. But let me pull up my guide to Nova as well, so I make sure it's easier for me to do that than to try to find the achievement in the game. Because they are hard to find. They're under the event tab, and it's just a pain. Oh, never mind. I forgot to update her guide. I'm bad. I forgot to update her guide with the new achievement. So she was dragging down. I can do this. Okay, I can do this. Have 15,000 stacks of the crew at once. Okay. So let's clear this out. Nova has an ability called the Crew. It increases damage slots, blah, 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 blah. Who cares? For each champion level on the affected champions, here's the important part. Each champion level on the affected champions. Okay. Contribution caps at 1,000 levels after their last available upgrade. So right now on the Crew, I have 300 stacks. Why do I have 300 stacks? Because Nova's giving me 300 stacks because I've put 300 into Nova. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do new recruits here because new recruits applies the Crew to all champions within 3 slots. That's going to help me get as many stacks as possible. Now I'm going to level Nova up all the way because I can. Well, I'm going to level her up a lot. I guess I don't have enough gold here yet to level her up all the way. Dang it. Oh, because I'm in the event. I'm not on Sword Coast. But yeah, you want to level up as much as you can. And you want to do that. Now I'm at 1640 because that's where she's at. And then I want to throw in a bunch of other people. I already have these champions leveled up. I'm going to do that. All right. Suddenly I'm at 5,585. This is real straightforward. I need to put enough item levels within 3 slots of her. I can actually, she doesn't have to be in the front for this. I can put her here, and she'll be reading everything that these arrows are going to. And then I can just start filling up other slots with champions and leveling them up. She doesn't have to be in the front for this achievement. She just has to get to 15,000. Okay. Now, you may not have, if you're newer, you may not have the gold, like the favor, in a campaign to really get that many levels on somebody yet. So it may be something that you're going to have to wait and hold off on and do when you do have that kind of favor in a campaign. Let's take a look at where we're at. See, it's going to tick up on its own. Eventually, it will get to 15,000. Brent Copeland. So if you have no boss and nothing spawning, you killed it. And you need to come up here to auto progress off, and you need if it's on, turn it off, turn it back on again. If that does not move you forward, then go back a level, do it again. And again, if it still doesn't fix it, submit a ticket. But I am not support for the game. All I'm telling you is how to submit, how to recognize a bug, how to hopefully clear a bug, and then how to submit a ticket. Because I'm not a CNE employee. I'm a contractor they hire to do this stream because I make guides for the game and I'm here to educate you, but I don't do support. So yeah, you're gonna have to submit a ticket. If there's no clearing that off. I have no other way to help you. So yeah, so that's how you do this. Now I'm here. There, I've got 16,000. So I have enough, and that would unlock that achievement for me. But that's how you do it. It's about reading this ability, the Crew, and figuring out how to get stacks. You get stacks by leveling up champions that are within a certain distance from her in the formation. And you can do that in a variety of ways, but it's going to take, it's going to take having a good amount of gold available to be able to level them up that far. Yeah, just making sure it's a bug before doing so. My rule that I try to tell people is, if the game isn't working as you think it should work, if something about the game isn't working the way you think it should work, restart. If it's still not working correctly, submit a ticket. Explain what you're seeing. Be as descriptive as possible. This is what I'm seeing. Then new paragraph. Explain what you expected to see. The new paragraph. Ask the question, which of these is the intended, how is this supposed to work? Which of these is the intended function? What am I supposed to be saying? That gives them the problem. That gives them why you think it's a problem, because it might not be. In some cases, it may just be that your expectation was different than reality. In this case, it sounds like a real bug, but it gives them the information they need, and then you ask the question, and then they can, answer the question and let you know this is a bug, or they'll let you know, hey, this is how this works. Right. So that's Gaarawarr's guide to submitting a bug, a support ticket, a bug report anywhere. I've worked at enough video game studios to know that's pretty much what they want. That's pretty much what they want to hear. No Mercy Nerd, I'm about to complete Oral's Blessings. Nice. Over halfway of completing patron perks. Cool. Should I start farming Celestian Blessings or complete all patron perks? Ooh. You're going to need those blessings. I mean, I don't know if you need all of them, but you're going to need as many blessings as possible to get all the patron perks. Because to get all the patron perks, you're going to need to be able to do some deep dives. Some seriously deep runs. Yeah. And honestly, I think what you want is Corallons. Celestian is Wild Beyond the Witchlight. If you don't have Corallons, there's Witchlight variants that are going to give your patrons lots of influence to help you get the rest of those perks. You're going to want these maxed out. This isn't super important yet, but it should be able to grab some pretty straightforward stuff there. We're only to like tier 2 there, so there's not a lot going on in Celestian. But Corallons goes all the way to tier 4, and you need to really do some deep pushes in Wild Beyond the Witchlight variants to get those patron perks. So yeah, try to get your Corallon stuff. As many as you can. I mean, go ahead and grab those. You need that power. You're going to need that power to get all the patron perks. No. That's what I'm going with. Well, lots of numbers. Can you tell, is there champions like nerds that cannot be obtained in time gates and by completing storyline and not available anymore, or have some ways they're not obvious? Okay. So yeah, we're talking about evergreen champions. Evergreen champions are champions that are obtainable in some way other than events or time gates. One such evergreen champion, if you open up the menu and you sign up for the newsletter, you get Hitch. Folks, get hitched. This is their Mind Flayer skin. Get hitched in Idle Champions today. So just, sign up for the newsletter. You get free stuff every week. It's great. It's fantastic. And you get Hitch right away. So there's one. Nerds are available over here in the gem shop. There are 100,000 gems. I highly recommend not doing it until you're at the point where 100,000 gems is just throwaway gems for you, like me. They have a very specific use case scenario, and for 100,000 gems, that's just a lot. That's a lot. I would like to see their price reduced to like 1,000 gems. Then they'd be a great new player, this multi-tool for people. But at 100,000, they're just kind of not the big deal. The rest of the Evergreen champions are currently available by completing storyline adventures, like you just said. There are variants in the game. There's one at Dritz Doerden is in Sword Coast. Azaka and Dragonbait are in Tomb of Annihilation. Ulcoria is in Waterdeep. Araya is in Baldur's Gate. Descent into Avernus. Xerophon is in Icewind Dale, and Blushi is in Wild Beyond the Witchlight. We don't yet have our Xerxes Evergreen champion yet. So yeah, there's only 2. Nerds and Hitch are the ones that are available outside of the game. Like outside of just playing stuff in the game. Fitzroy writes, for familiars, what is the best way to organize them for automation? It depends on how many familiars you have. Remember, automation, you're going to need to level up champions. You might want something on the field to make it go quicker. When I have a limited number, like on my new player account, if I have a limited number of familiars, I'll only run like 5 on the field. Will pick up the boss bags, so it will make it move a little faster. But 3 gets at least the gold and quest stuff, which is great. You have 11. Okay, so on my new player account, I run for automation of things. I run 5 on the field, and then I have 6 champions, and I just kill things with the champion damage. Alternately, you could level up 5 champions and then put familiar on click damage. That's how I do it on my new player account with 11. Yeah. And people are confused when I stream that account because they're like, why are you only using like 5 or 6 champions? And it's because I only have that many familiars and I'm trying to automate it. Sure, War Eagle, any advice for deeper pushes? I cannot get past area 800 in Avernus. But want more favor for a variance. This is my lack of formation building knowledge. If you are getting to 800, favor isn't going to help your variant pushes. Let's make that real clear. Once you're getting past area like 400 or so, you should be hitting soft cap on your champions. At that point, favor is not the power boost that it was prior to that. It's no longer your super handy dandy friend. So once you hit the circle with a line through it when upgrading champions, getting more favor isn't really going to help. Now you may want more favor to buy all the blessings, and that's great, but you're going to have to find that power somewhere else. So make sure you have all the as many blessings as you get from other campaigns, the global blessings. Patron perks. Getting those patron perks is going to help out a lot. There's a lot of power there. Big power in your Modron core, leveling up your Modron core and getting the flow first to epic. Later on, supercharging, but at first just get it to epic. Going from no core to a fully epic modest core is over 100 levels of areas of progress, just right there. And there are better cores out there than just the modest, but that's a good example. And then legendary items. Getting legendary items on the champions you're using to push deep with, and leveling them, upgrading them, right? Those are the ways that you're going to then be able to start pushing deeper. There's now also pigments, but we've only seen a limited number of those. I don't worry about those too much. Shooting for full epics on all your items so that you can apply legendaries to everything. That's another big deal. That's kind of what you're looking at to try to, you have to get your power from other places than just favor at that point. Baldur's Gate is where you start seeing this happen, where favor is no longer just increasing your favor, no longer helps you complete everything. And you have to look to other places. I have a guide for that. I think got Progression 101, I think. Yeah. Talks about that. That probably needs updated now that we've got more forms of progression. Orange Cores, please explain the formation saves and how to organize them. Mine's a mess. Wow, this is like telling someone how to organize their room. It really is kind of how you want to do it. There's not a lot going on here, but I will generally have a speed formation. I will have a pushing formation. I name it with the champion. And this one's like an alternate one I was trying out. Let me go over here. Let me go somewhere where there's more options. Um, okay. So, I have a lot more saves here. Not a whole lot, but a lot more. I have a speed one, but then this is for patron stuff. So I am in patron somebody right now. I'm in patron Mert, and I like to make a lot of formation saves for this. So I'll build out the formation that I want, and I'll place my familiars, and I may or may not select my specializations. And then I will name it based off what it is. So there are patron challenges that want Archon Crawl and Torrigar, so I just name it that. There's patron challenges that want Artemis Bud, right? I name them by the way by what it is that's triggering my use of them. So for patrons, I will name them based off the challenge, the patron challenge they require. This can go away. That's a bad formation. So is this one, honestly. I need to just update those. So whenever I need to build a new one, I will build a new one, right? And I will adjust the names accordingly. And I do this for all the patrons. On like a main campaign, I will have, we see this again. That Trispud is a bad formation. I say it's a bad formation because you always need the champion you're trying to set Bud with, and then you need a tank, and I didn't have that, so I will just rebuild that. But yeah, I name them based off what I'm using them for. So in a main like adventure, if like a non-patron thing, I'll have a speed formation that I throw in just to start off generically if I'm trying to go real far. Then I'll have things like a Zaka farming save, and I'll have an Orkira stacking save. And then I'll have different saves based off named for the DPS I'm trying to push with. I may save, like if I'm having a lot of trouble with a variant, I may save that variant's formation and I'll name it for the variant. Right? That's how I organize mine. Once they're in there, I'll load it up over here, and I'll make sure my specializations are correct. Usually if you save the formation after you've chosen your specializations, it will be in there. Otherwise, you'll want to go in and click specializations and just assign it, and it will apply it automatically to your save. Those are my tips for that. Because it's really about, you just kind of got to find a system that works for you, and then I junk anything I don't need anymore. You can have a ton. You can have like 99 or something. It's ridiculous. Where you'll see more, a lot more saves is for Trials, because Trials has just tons of restrictions and layers of different restrictions, and so I'll have like Con 12 plus speed, Con 12 plus Akira stacking, Con 12 plus birdsong. I'll have a bunch of different things for what it looks like the same thing, and then sometimes it'll be Con 12 plus 3 chaotic, like whatever, like combo restrictions. I have a lot more saves in Trials, so trying to name them in some way that gives you a clue as to what you built it for is going to help a lot. All right, lightning round, folks. We're not accepting any more questions because we're out of time. Let me fire through these real quick. Fitzroy writes, the polymorph skins, do they change your race or just for looks? Just for looks. Mahen has a feat that changes his race to tiefling. It's a lore thing. That's the only change we have right now. Hopefully we'll get more of those. Fubuki Kamiyo, is it better to unlock weekend chests like Gold Boldness right away, or keep them till I have all 5 champions unlocked? I don't think you need to wait until 5, but if you have, but you can wait until 4. I don't like to do it when it's just like the evergreen or core champions. I like to wait on my new player accounts until it's getting a couple more champions there, potentially. Somebody that I at least might get a blue upgrade out of, or I'm just rolling the dice on an epic, right? The Last Bioalchemist, once you start reaching mid-game, is it better to try and use time gates to unlock all the champions first, or focused on getting your best champs to full epic first? I'm a big fan of unlocking all the tools in the toolbox. So for me, that means getting all the champions. Yeah, that's my personal choice and recommendation. Because the full epic is going to be a combination of time gates and patron chests. And the more champions you have, the easier it's going to be to do all those patron variants. And honestly, getting to full blue is kind of, here's the good power curve. epic is the long-term bonus. So, Kairos 2, have you made a guide on what Tiamat scale enchantment we should be getting on each character? No. That sounds like a tier list, and I hate tier lists, but yeah, I have strong opinions on those, and they don't match the opinions of the community. So, so that becomes a tier list, and people rage about tier lists, and I don't got time in my life for rage. Gordus with the last question. Once champions hit soft cap, the level area turns yellow for some champions, but remains black for others. Is there significance to that? Hey, it's a bug. It's supposed to like fill in, and so that you realize there's no more leveling, you're done. It just has never worked. In 5.5 years, it has never consistently worked, and it's such a low priority thing they've never bothered to fix it. That's it, folks. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and thank Gabe for producing, grabbing all the questions. No more streams for the weekend on this channel, but I stream on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. You can find her down below, spelled like it sounds. And later today, I'll be streaming some goodness if you want to come hang out. We do streams on Saturdays. Also, I stream Idle Champions on my own account, on my own channel, on Mondays and Wednesdays. So if you want more Idle Champions stuff. Non-Idle Champions stuff Tuesdays and Saturdays. Idle Champions stuff Mondays and Wednesdays. Streaming on this channel will be back Monday evening with a familiar quest. The song we're going out on is Spurt arrived with this event a few years back, so we're going to listen to Spurt's song, Short Life, Big Heart. Have a good weekend, everybody.
I just turned 11 days old. That's an ancient dragon to a kobold. Got my brother by my side. He was eaten by slime. And everywhere I go, it's just along for the ride. Walking through the underdark. A hammer hit me very hard. Short knife, big heart. We never made it very far. Brothers walking hand in slime on that final march. Short life, big heart. Ask me 3 more questions, tell you what I can. Lived a long life for a kobold, not too long for man. You can ask me about Pepe, you can ask me about my friends. I can show you how to use my stick with stingy on the end. Before the hammer hit my head, I cried out, "You're dead." Short knife, big heart. We never made it very far. Brothers walking hand in slime on our final march. Short life, big heart. I'll tell you about the sandy poles I made, and the bag was right through like a grenade. Let my death inspire you, crusade as you wander on your way. Short life, big heart. Never made it very far. Brothers walking hand in slime